In our CEO panel, which will be opening day 2, we will delve into the implementation of National Water Strategy. Let us hear from the industry leaders as they discuss implementing the National Water Strategy, creating sustainability water sector by 2030. Please join me in welcoming the panel's distinguished speakers, Mr. Mohammed Halawani, Chief Executive Officer at International Water Distribution Company, TAWZEA, Mr. Amer Alrajiba, Vice President at the Saudi Water Partnership Company, and the panel moderator, Mr. Daoud, Managing Director, KEO Infrastructure.
Can you hear me? All right, excellent. Assalamu alaikum, مسيكم بالخير. الله يسعد مساكم جميعا. I'll have to say it's a great pleasure to be in this event today, talking to extinguished individuals within the market who are always keen towards innovation and achieving higher values and quality of life for us in the kingdom. My name is Daoud. I'm the Managing Director of KEO Infrastructure Division in the region. I look after Saudi Arabia as one of the countries that I'm responsible for. And I was very excited and thrilled when the organizers of the event approached me and asked me to moderate this session. Because everything that we talk about and everything we care about in this valuable, quality of life and the achievements that we're trying to achieve in this market will always go back to water. And water really is the key for us to have a good living. And countries that doesn't have water, they have issues and they have problems and concerns. And we will come to talk to you about this. And today I'm really pleased to have Engineer Amer from SWPC and Ustad Mohammed from TAWZEA. And I would like to start the session actually by maybe just addressing a couple of questions to introduce yourself to the audience. I had the pleasure to sit down with those two gentlemen in the last hour or so to get to know them better. And trust me, they are not as frightened as you see them. They're actually humble and, and kind. So feel free towards the session that you can ask any questions and you can add any comment and bring it to the table. I will start with you, Salim Mohammed. It's actually fascinating to know that someone who's looking after TAWZEA started his life and his education in bachelor's in marketing and master's in business. So can you please tell me the story? How come a marketing guy ended up to be the CEO of TAWZEA? How did that happen?
Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah jami'an. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you, Samir, for the introduction. And I would like also to thank Saudi Infrastructure Summit and the organizer for making this event. And also it's a pleasure to participate in this important panel. And I believe it's really have an important topic. It's a long story to answer your question. My career started as a business development for the startup companies in 2005. And based on that, we were working with a consultant firm by, let's say, improve the businesses of startup companies and do business development for them. Then in 2008, 2009, TAWZEA company started, and I saw a very good opportunity because in that time, TAWZEA started as a developer to participate in the PPP program at that time from the government of Saudi Arabia. So I saw it's a good opportunity to participate and to share my knowledge with the company and to start another career there. So it was a very great experience.
Amazing.
And I'm proud to be part of this organization.
And one of the things that attracts my attention that when you look up the company TAWZEA and you do a quick search on it, it says that TAWZEA is one of the first companies that have successfully privatized the water sector in the kingdom. What does that mean?
Okay, as I told you before, in 2008, 2007, TAWZEA started by its shareholder, and both of them, they are listed in the stock market at that time. And at that time, the Industrial Cities Authority, which is Mudun, هيئة المدن الصناعية ومناطق التقنية, they decided to launch a PPP program, BOT, for 30-year concession for several industrial cities. At that time, TAWZEA created to participate in this bid as a JV between the two companies, Cisco and Amiantit. And TAWZEA participated in the bid, and they won at that time Jeddah Industrial City, the potable water distribution service, and Riyadh Industrial City and Qasim Industrial City for 30 years concession to do the full network, the rehabilitation of the wastewater plant, build wastewater plant, RO, and to do the full meter and billing management for the factories. And successfully, TAWZEA started this concession in 2008. And we are serving in this concession more than 2,000 factories by giving them the water, receiving the wastewater, treat it, and doing the billing, the customer service. So TAWZEA invested at that time around 250 million riyal to do this concession. And our contract started. So by that, TAWZEA at that time started to be pioneer in the water sector, mainly in the downstream of the business.
Fabulous, fabulous. Allow me to introduce Engineer Amer as well. We've been holding you for further questions and mainly about SWPC now. I know that SWPC, the Saudi Water Partnership Company, it was established in 2003. You've been the Vice President of Planning since 2018, I would assume. Tell me about that experience. How did it happen?
طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم. Thanks for the organizer, and I'm honored to be here in front of this distinguished audience. I speak about the Saudi Water Partnership Company.
Please.
The company that used to be Water and Electricity Company. It was established in 2003, and at that time there was a need to get the involvement of the private sector in the infrastructure in general, and we haven't had the agent that could sign long-term contracts with the private sector in order to be compliant with the PPP scheme in general. So the idea came at that time to establish this company, 50-50 between Silent Water Conversion Corporation, SWCC, and Saudi Electricity Company. Because at that time, the strategy was to develop dual-purpose plants, water and electricity, cogeneration plants. And this is how it was started with the Shu'aiba plant and Shu'gay. The company started in 2003. The process launched by the government, and the two plants came into operation by 2010. And they are in operation as of now. One of them is being converted now, which is Shu'aiba plant from thermal to RO system, because the strategy changed, and to have more of sustainable operation. But back in 2003, there was one very important element added to the water sector in Saudi Arabia. At that time, we didn't have water and electricity body in one entity. We used to have water and agriculture and electricity and industry, two separate ministries. The government decided to have the water and electricity under one ministry, and the ministry, I believe it was established in 2002, and the government announced something like 20 sectors subject for privatization. And this is how the story started. So WIC at that time came into the picture, and then the process kicked off, and then the two contracts were signed with the development companies. So in 2015, when the government started the National Transformation Program, now we had a new vision, a new approach to fulfill the requirements for the kingdom's future. to be aligned with the economic development that was envisaged within almost all sectors. We are seeing now some big results now already on ground. So the government decided to make two major entities. One principal buyer for power and principal buyer for water. And so the principal buyer now already spun off from Saudi Electricity Company, and the principal buyer, which used to be Water Electricity Company, was made in two steps. One is to be fully owned by the Ministry of Finance, and to rename it from Water Electricity Company into Saudi Water Partnership Company.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. So that is fascinating, and having two entities within the kingdom to complement each other, I would love to say, in one way or another, and basically to work in line with the national water strategy that we have for 2030. Now, the national water strategy 2030 was actually published in 2018. But as I always say, every solution and every strategy and every goal that we put together comes out of a need. And the need means that we have challenges and we have risks in the water sector. And that's applicable everywhere around the world. But if we focus on the kingdom itself, from your experience, and I will go back to you, Mohammed, from your experience, where do you see the challenges and the concerns that you would have in the water sector in the kingdom?
Okay, thank you, Samir, for the question. I think the best way to answer this question from private sector point of view, to tell you the story of the private sector and what we were facing in 2015 and 16. The story started in 2015-16, of course. At that time, all the PPP projects in the water sector, it has almost zero, okay? And there was no clear vision from our side as a private sector, how we can plan our next 5-year strategy as a private sector. And it was only normal tender, and regular project, but as a private sector, we didn't know what is the vision of the government, what is the vision of the water sector in Saudi Arabia. In 2016, when the government of Saudi Arabia and His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman announced the transformation program, برنامج التحول الوطني 2020, then the Saudi vision of 2030, as a private sector, we started to know what the government exactly, where we are going as a society, as a community, as a private sector, as a government. Based on this, after that, from 2016, from 2018, the Ministry of Water, they started even to have a workshop with the private sector representative. They met a lot of private sector company to take their input about the national water strategy. And this is a lot of people, they don't know that. Even we attended some workshop with the minister, with the team in the ministry, with many of the organization in the water sector under the Ministry of Water, and many workshop with the advisor to understand what is our challenges, how we see this national water strategy, and what do we want, and to explain to us why they are doing even this strategy, and where they want to go, and how to adapt it with Saudi Vision 2030. In 2018, when Ministry of Water announced the national water strategy, it's allowed to the private sector to plan to do our business plan. As a TAWZEA company in 2018, when we saw the national water strategy, it's allow us to go to our investors, to go to our, let's say, shareholder, to tell them this is our 5-year strategy, and this is the kind of project, this is the demand happening in the region. The beauty about the national water strategy, it's aligned with the Saudi vision of 2030. When you go, like example, for the website of Saudi Water Partnership Company, you will see the 7-year statement. It's giving you all the region of Saudi Arabia, and it's published online, anyone can see it. So as a private sector, very simple, we enter the website of Saudi Water Partnership Company, we saw all the projects that they are planning to release. even the details in this statement, they are from SWPC side, they are telling you why they are even releasing this tender. Like example, let's take, let's say wastewater plant, the one we have, which is in Taif, like example. They said this is the population today in Taif. You can see it in the statement. And this is the growth expected in the next 10 years. This is the population, you know. So they are giving even the master plan, and they are taking it from the other ministries. In this scenario, maybe the Ministry of the Planning and Economy, to align, and based on that, they created the need, what the government need to reach this population, to reach the vision of 2030. Based on that, of the vision of 2030, the National Water Strategy came as an enabler for a bigger plan, which is the vision, which is all of us in Saudi Arabia as citizens here, that we have one goal. This is one side of the story. The other side of the story, as a private sector, we started to know now, okay? So we have 7 years. We have projects around minimum 50 billion real projects. Even the transparency from the Ministry of Water, they said, to reach the goals of the vision of 2030, we need a capex, and we need to invest in the water around 200 billion real. And this is announced. So they said for the private sector, for the PPP program, it's going to be around 60 to 70 billion real. The rest of that is going to be directly through a fund from the government. So even they separated, you know, the project, because the needs is very huge, and the demand and the increase in the vision of 2030, and to reach like the new project, what you are seeing today in Saudi Arabia, and everyone knows that, it's really high. خلاص, as a private sector, we knew that, so we started to plan all our projects. And the beauty today, and I would like to highlight this, for the first time in history, maybe in Saudi Arabia, you can see the private sector, the public sector, all of them, they are speaking the same language. Even today, all the private sector, we are trying to catch the public sector. So always you see the ministry, the government, they are ahead of the private sector. So always we are trying to catch them. We were complaining that there were no projects in 2015-16. Today we are telling them the opposite. Please, you know, slow down. Slow down, exactly. So really, as a private sector, we are really excited. It's gave us very clear vision how to plan our business, how to focus, to choose which project we would like to participate, to serve a bigger picture, let's say.
Amazing. And from what you're saying, basically, I'll gather that the National Water Strategy has paved the way and provided the guideline to bring the public and the private sector together towards one common goal. And if I want to go back to SWPC, and I want to ask Engineer Amer, one of the major tasks that SWPC has been performing in the Saudi market is to look after what we like to call the sustainable supply of water in the future. And that's definitely in line with the National Water Strategy for 2030. What would you say to that?
Yeah. National Water Strategy is a well-structured document available on the ministry's website. I would say the major, the additional component that have been pushed by the National Water Strategy, two things. One is to increase the percentage of private sector participation in the water sector to the maximum, and not only on the production side, but along the whole supply chain. Mm-hmm. We are talking production, transmission, distribution, and sewage treatment, and then TSC, the reuse. That's one side. The other side is to identify clearly the water need for as long as possible, long term as possible. So I can give some figures here. In 2020, the total production in the kingdom was around 10 to 12 11 million cubic meter a day. And using some detailed and complicated planning process, we set the target in 2030 to 13 to 14 million cubic meter a day. During the last few years, there have been enormous economic developments have been adapted and considered by the Saudi government, which forced major changes on this plan. So probably now the demand will be reaching something like 17 million cubic meter a day. And this is a huge number.
Massive.
Massive. Not only it's a huge burden on the production side, but you will have to add the other components, which is the transmission lines and the distribution, and they have to go, they have to be aligned time-wise. Otherwise, the sector will be unbalanced. But so far, we are doing very good. Maybe we are moving a little faster in the production side. But in the transmission now, we have the water transmission company, WITCO. They are doing very, very well. They already announced some projects, and we at the Saudi Water Partnership Company, we are doing 4 projects, water transmission line.
Yep.
So I'm talking about something like 3,000 kilometers of pipelines, east to central and west side, which help a lot National Water Company to realize the quantity of water that's going to be received in such and such dates, where they can plan and manage their budget to develop the infrastructure required to receive this quantity of water, and distribute it wherever needed.
Excellent.
In the wastewater side, it's more clear because people use the water by any means, by water transmission line or by trucks or by their own sources. So the quantity of water with respect to the number of people, population, is pretty much clear. It's easier to identify the need for wastewater treatment than water production, potable water. So we have a solid plan from now until 2030. The idea is, or the objective is, by 2030 we will be nearly 95% coverage in the kingdom, at least on the treatment side. We know the collection networks takes more time to develop, and the changes in the urban areas sometimes doesn't go along with the plan. We have changes, you have to adapt.
Of course.
But the treatment as variable,
Yep.
you have to fix this variable. And as we all know, that if you have too many variables in this supply chain, you will never be able to manage it. So fixing these variables, the water production and the water treatment, so you have the variables in between you can adjust.
You can play with.
Along the way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I want to just build on what you were saying, has SWPC any community engagement program or educational initiatives, I would have to say, to promote responsible water use? Because you talked about, the potable water, and you talked about the sewage, and you mentioned that sewage is clear. The potable water is the one that is growing, but we can get the sewage water, by default. So has there been any educational initiatives or programs engaging with the community to basically promote responsible water use? And not necessarily just with the public, it could be the general public, but also in the industrial zones.
Yeah. Well, this part is extremely important, but it's covered by the ministry and National Water Company.
Okay.
We are not in the front line dealing with the public or the end user.
Gotcha.
We are at the upstream and the very downstream. But in between This aspect is being managed very well by National Water Company and the Ministry, of course, to have this communication with the public, to fulfill or to achieve the goals that the ministry sees fit and need to be addressed and realized by the community all the time. But for us, we have a small role to play. We have a program called Sharaka, and we adapt a group of fresh graduate, different disciplines, legal, engineers, finance, and other. We do this program for 3 months. We give them a full educational program, telling them what is the water and how it's important, and how do we do our business, and how to be part of the overall sector, water sector in the kingdom. We are in year 3. We have done Sharaka 1, Sharaka 2, and Sharaka 3, and we will continue this with the support of the ministry.
Amazing.
And we will continue this program, but this is our limitation and responsibility with regards to social responsibility.
It's still very important because that's part of the success. So you're getting the community and the public as well to be part of that successful story. But one of the things that we do as professionals, we always start with, once we have a strategy or we have a plan or we have a project, we always start with what we call a risk management plan. And if I want to focus on the national strategy for 2030, I will be looking at what I like to call them emergency situations. So maybe I'll come to you, Akh Mohammed, with that question. Like, how can we plan to ensure continuous access to adequate quantities of safe water during those emergency situations?
Okay. The answer in the National Water Strategy, by the way.
Yep.
The good news, as I told you about the National Water Strategy, and after a lot of meetings happens with the private sector and the master plan of the vision of 2030, part, of course, of the vision, and this is what also SWPC, they are releasing a strategic reservoir project to have every region in Saudi Arabia to have around 7 days, if I remember correctly, of water supply. And also there is a lot of program from the frontline companies, let's call it, like National Water Company, now Ministry of Water, also they created the water regulator to make sure, the end user, they are really using the water in a good, let's say, behavior, let's call it, even in the agriculture business, which is a major part of this equation. Also, we are doing the same with the industrial city, which is Mudun. We are doing the same with them with the factories, how we promote the TSE water, how to reduce the potable water consumption in the non-food industry, let's call it. This is in general what we are doing as a private sector.
Amazing. And you mentioned earlier about your successful track record, I would have to say, of successful privatization. Yeah. Can you actually share with me like a live example of how that TAWZEA with the privatization contributed to enhancing the water demand and ensuring affordable water solutions? Do you have an example that you can share with us?
I can give you an example.
Please.
But first I will talk in general. As a TAWZEA today, we are managing the water supply for around 12 industrial cities in Saudi Arabia. And we are doing the full services from, let's say, from distribution till the billing and the collection of the revenue. This is in general. Of course, it's all about focus. As a TAWZEA, we decided in our strategy to focus in the downstream of the water, which is the distribution and to the environmental treated of the water. we decided that there is a need in the market in the reuse of the water. Based on that, we redefine our strategy, and we focused in the ISTP business and in the distribution side. We decided that in the production side, there is enough companies from the private sector. They are taking care of that. But we saw that there is a need in the market, and we believe that we can help the society and to help the vision even better. Based on that, alhamdulillah, we launched our first ISTP get to operation in Saudi Arabia, which is Taif ISTP, 100,000 cubic meter per day. It's the first ISTP in Saudi Arabia. It's a program also from SWPC. And we are really proud as a TAWZEA company to be part of this success story. And today we are releasing the TSE water. It's good for agriculture business. Even for the sludge, like example, it's good for agriculture business. It's good for, and we are doing today a lot of initiatives to see how we can capitalize on that to help the environment, let's say, in better shape and to help the strategy.
Amazing. Mohammed Amer,
Yeah, I would like to add something about
Please.
the emergency.
Yeah.
We have done, the ministry actually forced this plan, and it is extremely helpful. Now, every plant we develop, we add 2 days production reserve for the plant, equals to the plant production. 2 days if this plant serves Mecca or Medina, and the other cities, minimum 1 day. But the strategic storage plan is very good. We have a target to fulfill 3 days on 2 phases, 3 days and 7 days. So the 3 days and 7 days that will be completed by 2030. Initially, the 3-day reserve equals to something like 40 million cubic meter.
wow.
And this is based on a consumption of 250 liters per capita per day, which is huge quantity.
Which is big.
So in case you have emergency or crisis that the authority realize or think that it will take longer time, they can reduce the quantity, and the normal end user will not feel it at all. From 250 liters per capita per day until 150, you wouldn't feel it at all. If you reach the level of 50 liters, then you start sense that you have a water shortage. But so the factor of safety in the strategic storage is huge. And as of now, Saudi Water Partnership Company, we are doing Al-Ju'rana in Mecca, Al-Mukarramah. We have 2.5 million cubic meter. We are doing in Eastern Province 5 million cubic meter, and the process will continue in all regions of the kingdom, the 13 regions. We have a lot of strategic storage associated with the pipelines that we are doing, all the way from Eastern Province to Riyadh, from Riyadh to Qasim, from Yanbu to Medina, from coast of west side to Mecca, Al-Baha, and Asir. So we are doing along the pipeline. We are planting a lot of building a lot of strategic storage.
Amazing.
Along the pipeline.
And what you mentioned about the 3 days, I gather from what you just said that actually by reducing the supply, you can actually double and triple that in case of emergencies as well.
Absolutely,
So we're
you
not
can.
stuck with the 3 days.
No. That's the standard.
Yes, the standard.
But if you need more time, then you can manage the quantity that being distributed to the level where you balance the quantity available with the time that you need to repair the damage or to restore the capacity of that source.
Amazing, amazing. So going just to the most interesting topic that I always like to bring to the equation, which is about innovation. So maybe I'll go to you, Mohammed. What innovation programs do you have within TAWZEA that will actually go along with the strategies that we talked about? Do they have any specific schemes or programs in place?
As I told you, Samir, yes, the answer yes, we have.
Yeah.
As I told you, because in TAWZEA we decided to focus in the wastewater and plants and the environmental friendly solution, you know, to the public sector and to the industrial sector. Based on TAWZEA strategy, we decided that it's a blue ocean. We need to go there. So we started to look for the best technologies in the world. And today, I'm proud to say that in our recent projects that we have, which is Taif, ISTP, and Medina, Tabuk, Breda, which is we are doing with our partner Acciona company, we are implementing the best and the latest technology in the world in terms on how to treat the water in very friendly way. We are in the new projects, Medina, Tabuk, Breda. It's around more than 400,000 cubic meter per day. We are even implementing the solar PVs in our plants, the biogas generation. And we have in Tabuk wastewater plant, you're talking about 60% of our from our energy consumption from renewable and energy, let's call it, between the biogas from the sludge and from the solar panels. So yes, because we are focused in what we do, so we are always trying to innovate. And we know the project pipeline, and the best way to reach our goal and to reach the vision goal is as a private sector to bring innovation and to try to implement it. And always the public sector, they are always listening to us, and we are exploring with them all the time workshop how to do a lot of innovation.
Amazing, amazing. Do I take the SWPC are doing better job in innovation than TAWZEA?
Well, you know, they deal directly with the technology providers.
Yeah.
For us, we deal with the developer, and the developer deals with but it's very important for the developers, or a company like TAWZEA, to adapt efficient solution and economically competitive in order to grow their business.
Yeah.
And this is one of the, I would say, great merits that came as a result of the huge plan that was announced by Saudi Arabia in the water sector. And the result, I mean, everybody can see clearly. We have Sayan now in UAE, recently announced. They got the lowest tariff, water tariff now. Before that, we had Jubail 3B, our plant, 1.5 riyal. We are talking about 40 cents per cubic meter. This is very competitive.
Amazing.
Price to the level that the ministry is seriously thinking to use the water for agriculture. And I think if we continue this rhythm in the market, we will see the technology providers doing their best to reduce the cost and come up with a better technology.
Amazing.
The same thing reflected in the wastewater. We have the plant in Jeddah. It is 500, the total capacity is 500,000 cubic meter, 500,000. The first phase is 300,000. The tariff is 89 halala per cubic meter. We are talking about something like 30 cents, something like that. So, and we are using Nareda technology. The cost in the plant, the Dammam plant is very low, almost one riyal.
Wow.
So the number of projects and the sustainability of the Saudi market add a lot of pressure on the technology to do better in the near future. I'm not talking about 10 years from now. The next project, you have to be more competitive, you have to be more advanced to be able to win, because the competitors are doing very well in this regard.
Amazing. I'll have to say, I can continue with this session for another hour or so. It's quite amazing.
I would like to add something.
Yes,
Samir.
please.
Also, there is something, SWPC, I always remember them when I see this, the new record in the new tariff, the reduction in tariff from the developer side. In 2018 or something like that, SWPC, they released to the market that they will start release their tender with putting some energy cap in the production side. And really, I remember at that time, all the international developer was fighting with SWPC that why you are putting energy cap. I think it was 3.5. Please, Engineer Amer.
Yeah. Now it's 3.2. and they are able to come even lower now. So it's for them it's more easy to reach, not only reach to this target, but to get ready for the next project.
Fantastic.
And
And
this
it was
is the-
impossible at that time. Everyone was saying to SWPC, it would never happen.
That's the best way to push the technology further.
Amazing, amazing. And I'll have to say, what we collectively have achieved in the last few years, in particular in the kingdom, was actually achieving the impossible. And we still have a long journey to go with challenges and exciting opportunities, I would love to say. I'm about to wrap up this session, but before I wrap up, I really want to go back to the audience and ask if anyone has any question or any comment. I see the gentleman here, Tina, please, in the second row, please. But try not to make it a difficult question, okay? Yeah.
It's a simple question.
A simple one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Starting from the production, the mission of SWPC, as per our strategic planning with the National Water Company, we have seen that the journey from the desalination, starting from east to middle area, that we are losing a lot of water quantities in transmission lines, and also for specific distribution in Riyadh. I have seen since last 15 years, even TAWZEA, they have a contract with Aqualia, the Spanish company in South, for the non-revenue water. I found that we are producing water, spending capex and opex, but we are losing in the routes, and this water theft or water, physical water, is around 40%. So I think we have to overcome and defeat this challenging from both production entity and distribution entity. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Amer.
Thank you for the question. Usually in the transmission pipeline, we don't face physical losses, because if you have, whenever you have a break or damage in the pipeline, it becomes very visible. So this is not something cannot be noticed on the transmission line. In the distribution, I agree with you. We have non-revenue water, a percentage that being now reduced every year by National Water Company, and in some areas they were able to reduce these losses significantly, both in commercial and physical losses. So Saudi Water Partnership Company, we are not responsible for the distribution side. This is being managed by National Water Company, and from my information, they are doing very good in this, and I can sense it in my house. We used to have 1 day of water supply, and of course I don't feel it because I have underground storage, and everybody doesn't feel it. So they pump the water for 16 hours, once or twice a week. Now we reach 21 hours daily. So this is not only because, it's not because of the increase in the production, but it's a direct result of the reduction of the physical losses and commercial losses within the city.
Amazing, amazing. Any other questions? See the gentleman here, please, Tina.
And these numbers I mentioned, this is from my own information, but National Water Company, I'm sure they have more detailed information about that.
Yeah,
Maybe
I would like
Mohammed.
also to add something to Engineer Amer answer. Also, in the National Water Strategy, and as a private sector, like you mentioned, we are participating as a TAWZEA in some of the region in Saudi Arabia. We are participating in the South region and in the North region. Yes, National Water Company, they have very aggressive target by 2030, okay, from the National Water Strategy 2030, that they need to reduce the NRW every year to reach in some region like the world standard, which is around maybe 15% or something like that. I don't remember accurate the number, but yes, there is very aggressive target. The NRW is one of the most important topics and as a private sector, as a TAWZEA, we can see that this pressure on National Water Company and how they are doing great job these days to reduce it day and day.
And it will always continue as work in progress anyway. It's part of the targets and continuous
Yes,
work.
because yeah, when you see part of the losses, like example, because like Engineer Amer said, we used to have the water in our house 1 day a week, okay, a few years ago. But now, the more the pumping in the water in the network to be 24/7, okay, it will also reduce. And if there is any leak or there is anything, you can check it. And there is a lot of technologies these days. Even for us as a private sector, we have a KPI from National Water Company in our area to reduce the NRW.
Absolutely. I think we have a second question
Assalamu
here.
alaikum.
Walaikum
First of
assalam.
all, thank you very much, for the speech. It was really a good one. My question, okay, a good planning, perfect planning, actually, and all the talk about quantities, okay. My question about the quality. I do believe, yes, you have your own system to monitor the water quality, either in the waste or in the water supply. Just maybe as a clarification, as an entity, who is the third party who will accept or monitor the
Can you put the microphone just closer, please?
monitoring the quality of the produced water?
So the question is that, is there a third party that is monitoring the quality of the water that is being produced?
We have the water regulator, and it's an independent entity. They have the standard, and they are very strict. For us, we have these long-term agreements with the developer, and we have online sensing element that check every cubic meter comes out of this plant, both sides, in the production and the wastewater. And the developers are very keen to maintain the quality standard, because if they don't, they will have to pay a lot of money and fines and maybe termination of the contract. So the water quality is being monitored with extreme caution and with the very sophisticated instruments to make sure that. And I would say the history, and I'm talking about tens of years, we haven't had any issue in this regard, alhamdulillah, since the early beginning of the water sector. We haven't had any issue caused by bad water quality in the kingdom, which is a remarkable achievement by the ministry and the water sector community, water sector entities who are responsible for the water, all the way from the production down to the distribution.
And that's absolutely a remarkable achievement, I would have to say. And again, it's part of the strategy that is being implemented. We're talking about quality of water, and we're talking about quality of life eventually for our people and our community. I think we have a question there in the back, and probably that will be the last question, if you allow me, because we just ran out of time. So the microphone is on its way. Yeah, you can come closer as well. Come on, make some effort. Thank you.
I got it.
Please.
So I know.
Oh, we can hear you.
Okay, so I know in many industries we're looking at AI to improve both the quality as well as the efficiency of delivering different type of services. Are you guys as innovators looking proactively at using AI to improve both water delivery, water production, water transmission, and potentially even wastewater treatment?
Thank you. That was a very interesting question. So we talked about innovation, and the gentleman is asking how much of the AI, artificial intelligence, is actually part of your planning for innovation and implementing that in the production of water, and the quality of water, and the use of water, and the management of water, and both water and wastewater as well. So maybe, Mohammed, you can highlight a little bit on that?
Thank you for your question. Of course, the AI and the technologies, it is very important topic, okay? And now, this is, let's say, the new trend. I will give you a small example about our plant in Taif, which is we started the construction during COVID so I believe it's to 2020.
20.
It's fully automated, okay? And part for us to be fully automated, and I believe this is why we believe the AI as a developer and in the practical life, it is really important, because by this we are reducing the manpower, okay, in our plants, and by that we can pay better salaries to the employees, which is with higher education. So the quality of this, the efficiency of the technologies, and the more we are efficient, the more we can reduce our cost, and the more we can, you know, reduce even the risks. So yes, this is a very important topic, but still I believe as a private sector, we are exploring more and more these ideas, because especially in the mega projects, you need proven technologies, you need a lot of consideration to decide. And still, it's something new, and we are trying to adapt ourselves, and we are always open for any ideas and things to improve our business and our country, of course.
Amazing.
Let me add something,
Yeah,
please.
please.
As you can see, my colleague Mohammed, he's a
Is he
private.
stealing your ideas?
Yeah, he's a private sector, so he speaks money. And I agree, I agree. Now, back to your question. The water technology in general, especially in the upstream, is a classic technology. And as of now, it hasn't reached to the level where it can intervene with the AI in general. And I haven't seen any initiative from the AI community, if it's so to speak, that may add a significant value to the production. I hope I will be able to see something that we can adapt to help us to reduce the cost, to make it easier or better operation. But in the downstream and in the distribution, I can see some initiatives being implemented, and as of now, it's only in the development phase, especially in the leak detection and the, managing the distribution network within the cities. But in the big part of the water sector, which is the water production, water transmission, so far we have probably the most sophisticated systems like SCADA, like the remote sensing. It's there, already there, and they are doing very good in this. But AI, as it is in the business, for example, it's still far away from the water sector. I hope the technology companies and the AI specialists can focus more on the water sector to help us to do better in near future. I really hope so.
And
Thank
Akh
you.
Mohammed, Akh Amer, while you're holding the microphone, if you are about to send a simple message in one sentence to our young engineers who are going or interested to go and work in the water sector, what would you say to them?
I would say to them, we are running, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is running a huge water sector and very dynamic sector, and this is our future. We will rely heavily on the water desalination and the water treatment in general. So I really hope to see that the young generation focus on the technology and think to make Saudi Arabia the hub of water technology in the world. And one of the most lovely initiatives, the most promising initiative that I have seen a few days ago, everybody saw that, the announcement of His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman,
Yes.
establishment the water organization, which is a wonderful initiative.
Absolutely.
And I think it will add a lot, since the Saudi Arabia is very important, very important extremely important player in the water market in the world. We used to be, I think still we are the biggest desalinated water producer in the world. So when we say something, everybody listen. Mm-hmm. And it's a huge opportunity for the young generation to step in and get into this business, understand it, and be part of it.
Excellent. Akhi Mohammed, would you agree with that or would you add to it?
I agree, of course, 100%. And also, I would like to add, يعني, as engineer Amer, the Saudi Arabia have a huge and massive plans on all sectors. I will talk about the water sector. There is a shortage. The private sector, until today, we are trying to catch the public sector and the projects. So there is a huge growth in the market. And I believe the water sector, يعني, the water is life. So I believe if any young engineer focus on the water sector and start to increase his let's say, capabilities, he will have very great future in the near future even.
Excellent, excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking both Mohammed Halawani and Amer Alrajiba with a big applause for that excellent topic that they have actually shared with us and that informative session. Thank you so much, and that's it for us. And go back to the organizers.
Thank you, Samir, also, if we can give greetings to Samir for moderating this session.
With absolute pleasure, with absolute pleasure.